Hello, welcome to episode 34 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and I'm here to share all my crafty goodness with you. How are you guys? Thank you so much for joining me again. I don't always say, but you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Craft House Magic, and I've put links in the down bar to all the different social medias if you want to see where I am there and follow me and chat to me and things. And today is actually a Wednesday. I normally record on a Thursday, but as it's Valentine's Day and I'm releasing a pattern, I ought to do one just on Valentine's Day, I thought. And happy Valentine's Day to anybody who celebrates. So today we've got some knitting, some dressmaking, some sewing, some bobbin lace, a blast from the past and the gadget. I've got a few confessions, but a very good planned confession, so it's all right. And then I've got a bit of information on my shop update, and all the shop update today is going to be on yarn. So if you want to hear about the new colourways that I've got that will be for sale on Friday, this Friday coming, which is the 16th of February. Get your shop update date right, Ellie. The 16th of February at 7 o'clock GMT. I will be talking about them at the end of the podcast if you want to stay around for that. There may be some singing because they're all songs still from the 80s, so that might be interesting. Right, so I've got a little bit of news to chat to you about since the last episode. So thank you so much for joining in, finishing all the whips in January over in the Ravelry group. We had loads of people getting things finished off their needles, which was really lovely to get more things to cast on for later. So we had a winner for the £10 Ravelry download pattern, and that was Paula. So congratulations, Paula. I have been in touch with you already, so you know that you've won. But Paula has kindly donated a $7 voucher for the Valentine's knit along, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second. So thank you so much, Paula. Right, so we've got a 3,000 subscriber giveaway that I talked about in the last episode. I can't believe I've hit over 3,000 subscribers. It's crazy. So the prize was this bag and yarn. I know that there is one of these bags in the shop still if you're interested in that sort of batik fabric, and it's got a cute little ribbon on the end. And this is my Love is a Battlefield colourway, so it was the yarn and a sock size bag, and the winner is Nicolette Wasling, and she put a comment on the last video. There was 211 entries, so congratulations, Nicolette. And I just wanted to tell you what system I use. I use commentpicker.com, and it's actually, you just cut and paste your video website into their site. It generates a random post. If there's been more than one post by the same person, it only counts that as one entry, so that's really useful. So if anybody's doing a podcast and they want to pick a random post, that's a really good way to do it. I will pop the link below if you're interested. So we've got two knit alongs that are running now. We've got the Christmas craft along, which has been running since the beginning of February, and already we've got some lovely ideas for Christmas. So I popped a video on the channel about how to make this folded patchwork Christmas tree. I'm showing you the wrong side. And I've still got up there now. It's going to be left on, so don't worry about it being taken down. So there's a tutorial for this, but somebody had shown how they'd done a smaller Christmas tree out of these individual units to put as a little hanging for the Christmas tree itself to actually put on the Christmas tree. So that was really lovely. And there's some other sort of quilty projects that we're talking about. So if you want to go and have a look to see some ideas for next Christmas or for gifting ideas, it's a great place to go. So thank you so much for joining so far. Like I said, there'll be a prize drawn at the end of every month, and it'll run till the end of November. It just gives you the opportunity to get all the Christmas things done, gifting things, a Christmas theme, decorations, etc. done before December. We can relax December and have fun and enjoy the season. Right, so that's the Christmas craft along. And we started the Valentine's knit along. So it's starting today, which is Valentine's Day, and I've published a pattern on Ravelry, which is called V for Valentine Socks pattern. And it's a free pattern that anyone can knit. And it's a top-down sock pattern with a heel flap and gusset. Hello, this is Ellie from the future. This is just a quick update on my V for Valentine's sock pattern. So I uploaded this just before Valentine's Day, and unfortunately I uploaded an older version by accident. So if you actually downloaded it before 6 o'clock on Valentine's Day, there will be some errors in the lace section. So you'll need to download the latest version, which is on Ravelry now, and it'll have the version with the up-to-date stitch counts and things in the lace pattern section. If you downloaded it after 6 o'clock on Valentine's Day, you'll have the final version, so that's fine. So I look forward to seeing all your socks. That's the pattern that I've got released today, and I just wanted to give people the opportunity to sort of knit along together. I'm going to cast a pair on in my hand-dyed yarn, which is called Strawberry Fields Forever, and that isn't coming up the correct colours because it doesn't pick up pinks properly, my camera. I shall have to stop dyeing pinks. So I'm gonna knit it in my Strawberry Fields colourway, Strawberry Fields Forever colourway, and knit along with you guys. So it's just any sort of sock that has any sort of Valentine's theme. It could be the colour, it could be the pattern that you're doing. You could use my pattern or any pattern, to be honest. It's just a general sock along in the sort of Valentine's theme, and if it's a very tenuous link, that'll be all the more fun. So let me know what your ideas are. So that's over in the Ravelry group as well. I don't know if I always explain very clearly that all the sort of knit alongs and craft alongs I tend to do in the Ravelry group, just because it's easier and it's easy to have all the posts all in one place. If you haven't gone on Ravelry before, it's really easy to register, and it's free, so it's good to have a look at. It's a good resource if you haven't used it before, but I think most people have. Right, and I also wanted to mention again about the knit retreat in Darlington, which is called For the Love of Knitting, and it's been organised by Anne Marshall. So it's in Darlington in May, and I'm going to put the link down below, and I won't explain to you all about the knitting retreat again because I explained it in episode 33 at the beginning. If you're more interested, you can pop over to that episode and see a bit more information, but there are some places left on that if you're interested. So that's all the bits and bobs done. Oh no, it's not. We've got one more thing. So I did say last week I was going to record my little resolutions video and the washing hand knits tutorial, which I haven't done yet. I'm really sorry. I wasn't feeling too good at the end of last week, so I just thought I'll leave it till I feel reasonably healthy so it makes sense. So we better get on to the good stuff. So if we start with the knitting this time, I've got one finished object, and it's my socks that are knitted with my own Take On Me colourway here. And this is I did it as a top-down sock with a 2x2 rib, and then I used the same heel as that I've shown in my toe-up sock tutorial where I do the heel part, but obviously this is a top-down, so it is slightly different. But to be honest, because the heel is symmetrical, it doesn't matter if you do it on a top-down or a toe-up. And then I did the same medium wedge toe that I normally do, and this toe is actually written in the pattern for my V for Valentine socks, if you wanted to know what that toe is. So like I said, I've used my own colourway, Take On Me colourway, which gives micro stripes. And then this lovely yellow is a little mini that I got from Rainbow Cloud, and Cassia from Rainbow Cloud always does the loveliest colours. So that's a lovely bright yellow to brighten up this sort of black and grey. So that's lovely. So those are nice and finished. I really want to wear them, but I thought I ought to keep them as a sample as my hand dyed yarn. I should say hand painted, because that's how I kind of do it really, rather than put it in a pot of water. The thing that I've been working on monogamously is this water lily top that I've been knitting. It's curling up a little bit at the bottom, and I've pinned the front to the back because it was sort of getting in a right old mess. So I've knit it in the round from the bottom up, and so I've got the front and the back together, and I've started knitting the lace panels on the back, and these are just the pins that I've attached the two layers together because they were weighing down on these edge stitches, so I thought it would be better to sort of pin the both layers together because it's a bit more manageable, because this was gaping open quite a lot and putting a lot of weight on the back. So this pattern is the Water Lily by Meghan Fernandez, and there's a beautiful lace pattern that I've started here. I've about a third of the way up the lace pattern that I need to complete for the back of the top, and then I need to work up the front as well, so that'll be fun. So I have worked quite a lot since I last spoke to you. I was just past this pink marker here, so I've done quite a lot of plain knitting and decreased rounds for the waist shaping, and a little bit of the lace already. So because I've been knitting monogamously on that, it's come along quite quickly. And I want to knit this for the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, because actually I purchased this yarn in Edinburgh because Ginger Twist Studios has a shop in Edinburgh, so that'll be really nice. There we go. So that's my actually only work in progress in terms of knitting at the moment. And we shall go on to sewing. So I've got a couple of things that I've been sewing to do with dressmaking. So I better get Barbara to come on in. Barbara, you kind of come over for a minute. Here she comes. Hi, Barbara. So this is the Agonist top by Tilly and the Buttons. This is the fabric I showed you on the last podcast that I picked up from a local fabric shop which was closing down, and it was only £2.50 a metre. And I used about 1.5 metres for this project, but I did have about 2 metres of this material, as it was only £2.50 a metre. I'm not quite sure if I really like this fabric now, whether it's a little bit strange, but it was a good practice on some cheaper fabric so that I could see if I liked this pattern. I'm a great fan of this neckline. It's a lovely rounded neck. It's not too high or not too low, so I'm really pleased about that. It seems to be a nice fit on me around the waist. It's quite flattering. It's a tighter fit than the Cocoa top that I've got on now. I've actually got the dress version on. Bit of a boob flash there, but it's more of a tighter fit than this dress. You can actually do the option where you've got some elastic down the front here which ruches it up slightly, and some ruchy sleeves, but I just thought I'd try the basic pattern just to see how I got on with it so far. I did notice, because I used a fabric that was slightly less stretchy, the arms are a little bit on the tight side. Not too bad, but I think it's better if you've got a decent amount of stretch, and this fabric really isn't very stretchy for a jersey fabric. So I used the overlocker to actually put the whole thing together, and then I've top stitched around the neck, around the hem and around the sleeves with a twin needle to secure the hems. Just on a standard sewing machine, because I haven't got a cover stitch machine. I really want one. It makes it so that there's a little bit more stretch in the stitch rather than it just being the stretch stitch in a single line. I find that the twin needle works a lot better. If you're using the twin needle, you can just use a normal stitch, straight stitch, and it makes it a lot easier if you've got very soft, slippy material than it is to use this sort of zigzag stretch stitch that's especially for stretchy fabrics. So I'm really pleased with this, and I'm so pleased with it, in fact, that I've started to make another one. Will you show us, Barbara? So this is my second Agonist top that I've started. As you can see, it's not finished yet. I haven't hemmed it at all on the arms or the bottom, and I haven't yet top stitched around the neck. But I've done the same principle of top, except I've done the shorter sleeves. This fabric was from Higgs & Higgs at the Knitting and Stitching show in Alexandra Palace last year, and I picked it up thinking that I could just make a standard t-shirt, and I have. I was going to do one with short sleeves, but then I thought what I could try is the short sleeve version of the Agonist top, which, well, it comes to about here, just nearly to the elbow. And I had enough fabric out of 1 metre to make this, so that was quite handy. I didn't actually check whether there was just over 1 metre there, which I probably should have done really, but I did manage to get this pattern out of the fabric that they gave me when I asked for 1 metre, so that was good. And it was 150 wide fabric, so it's one of the wider fabrics. So it's good to know that I can get a top out of a 1 metre section. So I'm really, really pleased about this fabric and how it's coming up so far. Again, I've pieced it together using an overlock stitch, and I've just used grey thread on this because of the yellow and the grey parts of the print on there. You can see how I've got a bit hanging here. Not the tidiest job, but that's actually coming out nicer than I thought. I'm really pleased about this print, and I probably should have got another bit because it's so pretty. And again, it's not been pressed, so it's not laying very flat. But there we are, there's my second Agonist top. Hopefully by the next episode I can wear this and show you it actually finished properly. So thank you ever so much, Barbara. Thanks, Barbara. So I've also been working on some sewing projects for the house. So I've got a conservatory and I needed some new cushions. So I made these cushion covers with some linen fabrics that I picked up from my local fabric store. If I can show them all. So there's some really pretty prints there, and I've just done some plain cotton on the back with the zip that's sort of, I don't know what you call them when they're kind of semi-concealed, but all the backs are the same. There we go. And these ones, I did start to do free motion on these fabrics. It really didn't show up, and because it's a linen fabric, it kind of made a dappled finish to the surface of the material, and it spoilt the soft smooth finish, so I decided to unpick it and just to leave them plain. So those are lovely to make the conservatory look nice and cosy. And I've got a third sewing project, which is to do with hand sewing. Now this isn't completed properly, but I did a course with Jane Bothamley on English paper piecing, and this is actually the start of a La Passacalia piece. You can actually fussy cut pieces a little bit better than I have, but I just took scraps with me. I tried to do it so in these I've got lighter parts of the blue fabric in the middle and darker bits around the edge, which isn't that noticeable, but if you did it with more of a fussy cut sectioned fabric, that makes sense. You see like a wonderful sort of mirror image effect. But there's 5 pieces to this La Passacalia. There's another smaller hexagon as well which fits in, and it forms a star shape all the way around the edge here, which I shall show you when I get up to. So this is the back of my work. I've just been finger pressing all the pieces, so they're not quite as nice and flat as they should be really. I quite enjoyed actually using a glue stick to glue the edges of the material onto the pieces of paper, which I've never done before. I've always just tacked it by hand onto the paper, which is so much quicker. So I think I'll really enjoy that, and that'll be something I can take to my quilt group to sit there when I can chat and do it at the same time. I did find that I was using quite a shortish needle that was a little bit on the thick side really, so I actually, since then, I've ordered some more of these thinner needles. I did have one of these thinner needles, but I've ordered another packet, so they're the milliner's needles and they're a size 10, and I found that this size is the one I'm happiest with to work with the English paper piecing. I don't know, what do you guys think? What's your favourite needle for English paper piecing? Be interesting to know. So there we are, I am so far. It's a little bit annoying that I've only just got onto that edge. I think this piece will probably just be one motif rather than it being a bigger quilt or anything. Just because I don't think that it's particularly stunning, the colours that I've used or the patterns. So this is just a kind of practice piece to get to the place where I want to be with my English paper piecing. For example, I've changed my stitching technique. I used to use whip stitch, but now I use a ladder stitch between the pieces, which I find I get a neater finish between, so you can't see the stitches as much. You can still see them a little bit. I think you have to be Superwoman if you can do that without seeing any of the stitches. So that's all my sewing. I have got some bobbin lace to show you. I've got this tower of cushions here that are about to fall over. I'm just going to throw them on the floor over there. Right. So we have my bobbin lace. So I shall show you the pattern. I did show you this pattern last time. So this is the heart shape that I wanted to do, and it's from Bruges Flower Lace book that I've had for a little while. I was a bit optimistic buying it a little bit earlier in my bobbin lace career. So I haven't finished this piece, unfortunately. I was going to do it for Adam for Valentine's Day, but I just haven't had time to finish it, so we'll have to just look at it how it is. I've pushed all the pins down so you can see it better. There are some ends that I'll need to weave in when it's finished, unfortunately, that are in the way a little bit, but at least you can get the gist. So first of all, I worked this, I'll have to hold it on my shoulder for me to explain. I worked this centre scroll that goes into scrolls at the end, and then I went around the outside with these loopy bits, which are just done with a couple of pairs. So like I said before, I used a Fernandez thread from DMC, so it's relatively thick in terms of bobbin lace, but I think that comes out nicely. And now I need to work the centre section, which is here, which is the same principle as these edge parts here with little picots on, but I've just got to do it in the order where I can just keep going from one side to another rather than starting and stopping with separate pairs. So there we go. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody with a heart. By the time you watch this, it'll probably be gone, so sorry if it's a bit late. So there's my bobbin lace, and I'm going to go on to Blast from the Past now. This is something I've made absolutely ages ago, but I've made use of it an awful lot. So it's a pin cushion and a thread catcher. Now I kind of made the pattern up for this just because I had scraps of material that I wanted to use. This is a sort of a tweed fabric, and then I've put a ribbon between that and a more upholstery weight fabric underneath. And you can see I've got my button pins, how cute. And on the bottom I've used some boning that's out of, for tops and things and dresses. Used some boning to make the front edge stick out so that I can throw things in the little pot. And I did make it so this is removable with Velcro, which is quite useful. Because if I want to take it to a class or something, I can then pop that inside there, and then it's easier to sort of carry. There we go. So I think everyone needs a thread catcher and pin cushion together. Oh, what I didn't say is that I've actually filled this with sand, which is quite good. If you're keeping your pin cushion in somewhere like a conservatory or something, I found that, because I used to live in a house where I used to do my sewing in the conservatory, that the pins get a little bit rusty in the sand because the sand retains the moisture if it's quite a moist atmosphere. So it's probably best to use other things. I think they use nutshells and things that keep your pins sharp as well. But sand is good because it just weighs down your pin cushion and it's quite cheap and handy. I think I bought a bag of play sand and I've still got loads left. So I can make loads of pin cushions out of it. So there we are, that's my Blast from the Past. And my gadget for today, I don't think I've shown this before, I really hope I haven't. But it's one of these little sewing rollers, and it's got an adjustable thing there so you can measure hems and things really easily. So I find that really, really useful when I'm hemming my dressmaking. Like the Agonist top, I used it to hem all around the bottom edge and on the sleeves as well. So because you can adjust it to like 1.5 centimetres for instance, and it's really handy. So that's my little gadget for today. And I'm on to confession. Actually, I've had a couple of people who've been really, really kind since the last podcast, and I had some beautiful, beautiful gifts that I'd been given. So the first thing that arrived was this gorgeous bag, and this is by Donna from In a Pickle Knitting. No, In a Pickle, sorry Donna. And she's got her own podcast, and she actually showed on a set of tutorial videos how to make this bag that she's done, and it's gorgeous. I've popped her card. I'm going to keep your card, Donna, in the little pocket because I think it's so sweet. It's got a little ribbon across the top, so that's going to stay in my little bag. But it's got this gorgeous little pocket at the front with some contrast fabric inside. That's a zip as well. And then inside there's another zip. If I can see where the zip is, there we go. And there's more contrast fabric. How beautiful! And it's a beautifully stable bag with a nice light inside. I quite like it. And she's put the cutest little tassel on there, which is really lovely. And it's lovely that she's got In a Pickle on the little strap as well. So how lovely is that? I'm going to be casting on my V for Valentine socks with my yarn, and that's going to go in there and starting today. So I'm going to be using that today. I didn't want to use it before I showed you guys. So thank you so much, Donna. So Donna sometimes sells some of her bags in Etsy. And I think she said to me that she may have some shop updates near St Patrick's Day, so keep an eye out for her shop there. She's on Etsy. So I also had another beautiful package from my friend Terry. Oh my goodness, look at that, some tatting. So I'd been saying that I'd never tried tatting, but I'd like to at some point. And the colour of thread, you can't really see this very well. I'm going to have to get out some of my fabric. I'm going to probably be showing you in a minute. There we go. That's better. You can see it now. It's an absolutely beautiful seahorse made of tatted lace. And I've had it actually pinned up on my wall. I'm going to put it in a frame so that I can sort of keep the dust off it, because we don't want to spoil something that's taken so long. Thank you so much, Terry. And Terry also sent me some gorgeous yarn, some knit picks. You know my colours, Terry. I've got these gorgeous little knit picks. The colours, it doesn't pick up the pink as well as it should, so there is a lovely bright pink. Oh, lovely. And also, I have never ever had the opportunity to get some Hue Loco yarn. Oh, some Valentine yarn. So these are absolutely beautiful. Thank you. And also, she sent me some Madeleine Tosh in this beautiful multicoloured yarn. Oh, it's coming undone a little bit. It's because I've been fondling it too much. So this is Madeleine Tosh DK, and it's 100% merino yarn. So that'll be a lovely hat, I think. Gorgeous. Oh, thank you so much, Terry. Terry's also sent me a couple of gadgets, which I'm not going to show you yet because I might be showing you it in the gadget section in the coming weeks. So, I have actually been a bit naughty, but it's all planned. I was having a look at my Make 9 for my sewing projects. And I thought I haven't got all the fabrics I need. So I had to plan ahead. So you've just seen this. This is some denim that I picked up. Now, my friend Jo had said she'd seen on, I don't know what forum she'd been chatting to people about, but she said that the best denim, stretch denim, is from Higgs & Higgs. So I put an order into Higgs & Higgs, and I got some lovely stretch denim ready to make my jeans. This is the Amers jeans by Cashmerette that I'm going to be working on. And the other Cashmerette pattern I wanted to do was called the Concord t-shirt. And I picked up this gorgeous cotton jersey. This feels, oh, it's lovely. It's similar to the material that I did my Agonist top in I just showed you. But it's a lighter grey and white stripe, and I thought that would make a lovely Concord t-shirt. As I'm talking to you, I'll pop pictures on the screen of what patterns I'm talking about in case you've forgotten, because I can never keep up with all these patterns. So that was from Higgs & Higgs as well. And then I picked up this is a chambray fabric from Higgs & Higgs as well. And it's got some beautiful swallows on. So I thought that would make a lovely bateen top. So I picked up a couple of meters of that too. I know what all of these are for, so it's very well behaved. And then I was just browsing on the Fabrics Galore website, and I saw this. And I thought this needs to be a bateen too. So this one is a viscose material, so it's nice and drapey. And this is from Fabrics Galore, and I think this was about £6 a metre, if I remember correctly. And I think they've still got some on the website if you wanted to grab yourself some. So I thought that this would make a lovely bateen top too from Tilly and the Buttons. So I'm very well planned. In fact, I cheated a bit because these two are for the same pattern. Bit naughty, but at least now I've got most of the fabric I need to make my Make 9, I think, apart from the 2 dresses that I wanted to make, so I will do those towards the end of the year, I think. So that's all my confessions. And now I'm going to talk about what I'm going to put in my shop update on Friday. So Friday the 16th of February at 7 o'clock GMT, I'm going to have a yarn update, and I've been inventing some new colourways that are all to do with 80s songs. So the first one I'm going to show you is a grey colourway, and this is called Here Comes the Rain Again, falling in my head like a, I don't know the words properly. There we go. It's a grey base, tonal base with some speckles in there as well. if you can see the speckles very well on the camera. There we go. So that's my Here Comes the Rain again. And then on the same sort of theme is Purple Rain, and I thought those two would go together nicely. Again, the purples and the pinks don't come out quite correctly on my camera. I will pop a picture here of the colours in that I think is a better representation of the colours, but there we go. So this is Purple Rain, Purple Rain. There we go. Sorry, more singing. Oh dear. And then I just needed to make a pink. So this is Pink Cadillac. Do, 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 do. And I really want to do this for some reason. Oh dear. Anyway. So that's Pink Cadillac. Again, I will pop a picture on the screen so you can see the proper colour of that, because it's a little bit brighter, more vivid than what is coming up on the screen. And then I've got two colourways that are related. So these are both inspired by Carly Simon songs. The first one is called Coming Around Again. Nothing stays the same, but if you're willing to play the game. Oh God, I'm really sorry. And this one, Nobody Does It Better. So this is based on the video of Coming Around Again, and this one, Nobody Does It Better. Carly Simon in the video is wearing a dress that's this colour, but actually these two go together really well, so I thought I'd show you them together. That's enough of the singing, I think. I also did this colour, which is in between Purple Rain and Pink Cadillac, really, but again, it's not coming up very well on the screen. I will pop a picture, but I haven't decided what to call this yet, or whether to just keep it as a sort of one-off, but there we go. And then I decided that I need to make some mini skeins, because I love mini skeins. I love buying them. So I should make some, although I really want to keep them all for myself. Oh dear, I just love mini skeins, they're so cute. So these are the four that I've been dyeing up this time. So these are going to be a set, and we've got, oops, I'm dropping. So this is actually very similar to Pink Cadillac. This one is very similar to Purple Rain. And this one is very similar to Coming Around Again, but it's not quite the same because they don't come out the same on the mini skeins the way I'm dyeing them. I was messing around with some different colours and I came up with this one, which again isn't coming out on the screen very well, so I will pop a picture of the four colours together. But I love this size of sort of 20 gram mini skeins, so that it comes together, there's 80 grams in a set. And I shall be publishing that on Friday as well. So there we go. But don't you just love a mini skein, even if I've made it myself? Oh dear. So there we are. I think that's all the yarns that I've got to show you in the shop update. I may have a couple more that I'll have dyed between now and then, and I want to get some of my new BFL base dyed up for Friday as well, hopefully. If you have seen one of the colours that I've dyed up that you think you might like in the BFL colourway, just let me know before Friday or next week or whatever, and I'll make sure I dye some up for the next update in that particular colour that you're after. Because I haven't bought a massive load of BFL because I wasn't sure how well it'd go, because I think the merino is what a lot of people want to buy. There are a couple of bags that I popped in the shop last week in Valentine's theme, so I just thought I'd show you. So these are all sock size bags. I've got this one, which is a batik with the hearts on, some dotty with the hearts on, and these ones have got, well, this one's got a darker pink lining, and you can have with and without the internal zip. This one's got another darker pink lining with a swirly pocket inside. So they've all got pockets, but you can choose whether you want a zipped pocket inside. I've also got a red heart one, which has got a cream inside with a little, always got nice little ribbons on. And then lastly, I've got a batik with hearts on, and that's got white lining with a white zip pocket inside. And they've all got these little heart charms with a ribbon on there just to help you pull on the zip. So that's all the bags. So thank you so much for watching the podcast and actually watching to the very end, and I hope to see you all on the next podcast in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.